it's Tony Fortunato from the technology firm. I was asked by somebody the other day, what do you take on your engagements? So I told them it depends, and they said, let me know what you do when you do it. So here we go. I'm in the middle of a VoIP baselining troubleshooting engagement. And here's what I'm going to bring. Of course, a bunch of cables, and they're all various colors, so they're easily figured out when they're all kind of bunched in with each other. This is a cable that I just labeled on its side with a marker, and 13 means 13 feet. And that means a straight through cable as opposed to a crossover. Some of the other ones are labeled a little nicer, but nevertheless they're all labeled. The other thing I like to bring with me is a good old extension cord, something like this. There's nothing worse than being caught under a desk or a cabinet and you need extra power for your PC or whatever. I also like to bring along a tap because I know I'm going to have to unplug a phone or some kind of VoIP thingamajiggy. And this is a Garland tap. I like it because I have two monitor ports on it. It's copper and it's gig. The other thing I like about this tap and other taps is when they have dip switches. And that's very helpful. No serial ports to deal with or software and that kind of nonsense. That's my Garland tap. Then of course it has a power supply. Make sure you don't forget these. And then I label all my power supplies because after a while in a bag they all look the same, right? We've got our PoE injector because at some point I'm going to have to unplug that phone and it's not going to have power from that switch because some phones obviously get their power from a switch. Please note what PoE output voltages your injectors have and what the clients need. Sometimes they're not the same. I'll just leave it at that. Of course, I'm going to bring a switch just in case I need a couple of Ethernet ports, a couple of extra ports. Who knows? Who cares? Nice. Doesn't take up a lot of room. And of course, its power supply. And I like to bring these RJ45 adapters, either straight through to extend a cable or crossover to make a straight through cable a crossover cable, that sort of thing. This is a little different one that I like to show people. It's just a simple sticker that I use for a file folder. And what I use these for all the time is if I'm working on equipment, I need to write down an IP address or a label or something, and nobody has a P-touch or something fancy, I can just scribble something on here, stick it on the device, and done. Don't forget your analog recording device, just a good old paper book of some kind. And lastly, we need a tool, and of course I'm going to use Wireshark to capture my packets. And there you go. Enjoy.